I was losing so much weight and I couldn't eat that I actually started eating baby food.
Hey, everybody. Today we have a special interview with Mallory, who last Christmas, all she wanted was some warm hands. She really struggled with severe Hashimoto's with Raynaud's so bad, her hands and feet turned white, cold, chilled, painful to the bone. And not only that, she was dealing with symptoms of Sjögren's, lupus, and an MS all over a 3-year time frame. She tried on her own as much as she could to learn as much as she could, listening to functional podcasts like crazy. She thought she knew a ton. She also engaged a team of 7 doctors, some of the best specialists on the planet, some of the best functional medicine doctors. And yet she was getting sicker and sicker and sicker with severe weight loss, pain, gut symptoms, nausea, you name it. And her left leg was going numb to the point where she needed to be disabled to file for disability, right? And she's a mom of young children. So I can't wait for you to see what this Christmas is like for Mallory. I'm Maggie, UMD, and I'm a functional and holistic medicine physician, and I'm the creator of Transform and the Transform protocol to transform your autoimmune disease naturally. And if you want to learn more about our program, make sure you give us a subscribe, a like, and a thumbs up, but do join our Facebook group, which is Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally. The other thing that you could do is, if you're interested in learning more about our programs, go ahead and there should be a link above and even below this video with an opportunity to chat our team. Go ahead and click and chat our team now. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Mallory. I'm currently 36 years old, live in Iowa. I've got 3 little girls, which is probably my main motivator for this program and figuring this out now, is a responsibility to be able to help them as they get older. I've worked in sales for 12 plus years, married, in real estate, live a very busy life. I'm very positive, active, and about little over 2 years ago is when I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, which in our family, to our knowledge, we had no autoimmune disease. So it came out of the blue, other than my sister getting diagnosed with MS about 10 months before me. So when I got my diagnosis, that's when my whole world kind of fell apart. Like, yeah. I felt like I need to get this figured out. So, and that's, I've been really on a 2+ journey trying to figure this out. And then I hit some massive roadblocks before I joined your program.
Yeah. And so it isn't just Hashi's. And here's the thing, we know autoimmunity is hereditary. And when you say, oh, no family history, except my sister was diagnosed with MS 10 months ago, that's a really significant family history. And we know, and I preach it in our program and in our Facebook group, that autoimmunity is huge hereditary. Okay. Yeah. So that is a family history. And I bet you when you actually look farther back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now that you've been through the program, you know there were signs and symptoms in the generation above you, like crazy.
Absolutely. And in fact, there is diagnosis. It wasn't talked about. And so I'm changing that. That's the only thing I can do is become more educated and learn more about autoimmunity so that I can be a better advocate for myself and for them.
Well, it wasn't just Hashi's, let's look through the rest of the autoimmune shitstorm that happened.
I just completely fell apart. It was December when it started, December 2020. And it started as a sinus infection, took an antibiotic, and it's like my whole system fell apart. Now, I had signs that things were declining in October, saw my primary, said I was normal. But from there, I don't know if we want to get into it this moment, but I could go into how severe.
Let's go into it because let's talk about your hands, because that is a big part of this.
And I honestly think what's crazy about that, Maggie, is the hands. I actually think that picture was taken in May. It was about summertime. By May, I was just so sick right before joining the program that I was in long sleeves pants sitting in front of space heaters because I was so cold. But it actually had started back in December. I ended up in the ER after 7 days on an antibiotic. I had severe stomach pains. I woke up in the middle of the night and my mouth went dry, my eyes went dry, my heart rate shot up. It's like my system just was going into shock. Nothing. I go to the ER, normal.
And this on the left was how your hands looked like.
And I sent pictures like that to my primary, and I just get responses that, oh yeah, that's Raynaud's.
Raynaud's is an autoimmune disease. Okay. And it's just another target of autoimmune attack is the blood vessels in your hands. But look at that left hand. How many people in our audience watching right now has Raynaud's and don't even know it's autoimmune, or your doctor doesn't know? First of all, does your doctor even know it's Raynaud's? And number two is, if they did they know it's even an autoimmune disease? This is her on the left last year. Okay. And they hurt.
I can't even explain. This winter, all I wanted was to be warm. I can't explain how impactful having Raynaud's is to just your quality of life, but my body was just so painfully cold. And if I walked into, let's say, a grocery store, I'd have to run to the bathroom and get my hands under hot water just to like warm up my body. I'm wearing long sleeves in the summer. I can't even, like, every part of my day was thought around, like, is that going to make me feel cold and trigger this? Like, that's all I wanted this winter out of everything, was to be warm.
We should title this interview, "All I Wanted for Winter Was Warm Hands."
It was warm. I just wanted to be warm.
Warm and pain-free,
Pain-free.
That hurts because there's no blood flow going there. It's not only white. Some people actually turn blue. My friend, I'm just gonna call him W, sent me a photo of his feet in the middle of Palm Springs that were blue. So it's not just Hashi's, it's the Raynaud's with the hands turning pale, another autoimmune target. And then it turned into the rest of the autoimmune shitstorm, which was symptoms relating with what? Like Sjögren's, lupus, and MS.
Everything. The mouth, like when I say my mouth went dry, my eyes went dry, it was waking up all night long to get sips of water. Like the dryness was this is so disgusting because I'm a kind of a germaphobe. But when I was in the ER, the dryness was so bad that I went over to their sink in the ER and started shoveling water in my mouth. It was that dry. The eye drops, I went and saw the eye doctor. He said it looked like somebody took sandpaper across my eyes. That's how bad they were. And I was doing ointments and eye drops all day long. And it's like, it was so intense. Yet I saw a specialist, a rheumatologist, nothing. I'm like, this is not normal.
Well, because you didn't test positive for the limited panel. Right.
That was it. And they let me go. I mean,
but the thing, I think you make a really good point, and you're a great example of what I teach, which is that I really, looking at the number of targets we actually can test for autoimmunity, we are only able to blood diagnose probably less than 2 to 5% of autoimmune diseases. The other 95%, we don't even have a blood test to test what the target is. We have the symptom, but that target, we don't even have a blood test for. Does that mean you don't have an autoimmune disease? Does that mean the eyes, the saliva gland, the hand, the joints, that they're not the target of an autoimmune attack? When you already even have a known Hashimoto's, that's already known, autoimmune of the thyroid. Your body's already mistaking your thyroid as a germ. What does it? It's not a stretch of the imagination. It's mistaking hundreds or thousands of targets around your body as also an autoimmune attack target. So Absolutely. You were having literally the autoimmune shitstorm with hundreds of targets around your body under attack.
Yeah, it hit my leg. My right leg went numb to the point that I had to go on short-term disability. I couldn't drive. My stomach, the pain and nausea in my stomach was so severe. The weight loss that I experienced, and I've, had problems trying to lose weight after having babies. So you would think, oh, easy weight loss is great, but there's nothing more terrifying than watching your body like dramatically drop weight and you can't stop it, because there's only a point that your body can get to before it starts shutting down. And I was losing so much weight and I couldn't eat that I actually started eating baby food, because I knew my body needed nutrition and I wanted to get something in, but my stomach was so messed up. And I did an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, nothing.
Okay.
I did a brain MRI, nothing. Although there was some white matter hyperintensities, but that was nothing, they said.
Where are you now with these symptoms? Let's go through them. Okay. Let's start with hands. All right. So I want to actually share a photo of your hands with the Raynaud's today.
Yep.
On the right, on the left was last Christmas. This is this year. We're going to this Christmas. What did you get this Christmas?
Warmth. I mean, not only that, like I walked around my house in a t-shirt, which sounds crazy, but the one thing I wanted was my twins are 5 and then an 8-year-old. They play in snow. And last year I couldn't go outside. I mean, I tried my hardest, but basically I would stand there and just hold myself trying to stay warm and be present.
Yeah.
I couldn't even play with them. Now it's like, I can walk around the house in a t-shirt, which sounds crazy, but like I can get cold, and all day long I keep looking at my hands and I'm like, there's pink. They're pink all the way to the tip still.
Well, and I teach in the program, I give people actually a timeline. I'm like, if you got Raynaud's, it does take time to heal. And, and there's not a guarantee that 100% is going to be normal, because it depends on how much is permanently damaged, how much is reversible. But the timeline I give people in the program is typically 6 to 12 months for nerves and circulation to really heal. But it is something that I see all the time improve in our program. What we're sharing here is that, but this kind of improvement, this you never see in conventional medicine, by the way.
No.
This is not a possibility. And this is the kind of stuff we see all the time, which is blood flow and nerves can improve and improve dramatically. And absolutely. And you're only 6 months out from when you started the program.
I feel like I'm still just in the beginning, like as far as my healing and doing the work from the program. I don't even feel like I would say that, like, yes, the program's over for me, like I graduated, but I'm still I feel so early in my healing, which is exciting, like, and I still get cold. Like, it's Iowa. I'm in Iowa. I get cold, but I'm not getting these Raynaud symptoms with it. So, and then to see other people struggle with it, and I know that their doctor just is dismissing them and telling them it's normal, or that's what it is. But it's like, but what do I do?
Well, you were sharing with me just this morning that you're in a Raynaud's Facebook group, and you watch.
Someone had made a post, and somebody had posted the picture of their hands with their fingertips white. And I couldn't believe all the people that say, I have this too. I have this too. And I'm just like, well, that's not normal.
I mean, Mallory, we get the cases after Johns Hopkins, after Mayo, when they're not being helped, they eventually come to us. What do you think you did that really helped the Raynaud's improve to this dramatic effect?
I think it was, for me, the two things, definitely my blood sugar management. When I say I have absolutely worked very hard on my autoimmune. I've been on AIP for 2+ years. At onset of Hashimoto's, I went AIP, and I have been strict to a core. I've added a few things back, but when I say I don't cheat, I don't cheat. I haven't cheated. It impacts me to the point that when we vacation, we have to vacation somewhere where I can get a fridge. I go grocery shopping. I have been committed. I have done the work.
Did AIP for 2 years strict like this work?
No, absolutely not. I don't regret it, because I'm the kind of person, like, I never want to look back and say, I wish I would have. But by the time I came to you, Dr. Maggie, I had done everything that I could do. I drove a lot for my job, which is why I had to go on a disability leave when my leg went numb. And so I would spend 2 to 3 hours a day listening to functional medicine doctors and doing the work. There was nothing left for me. And I was so sick, which was very frightening for me. But by the time I got to you, it was the blood sugar. So I have since added foods back to my diet. I will not ever add gluten back, by all means, but I have added things back that help me expand my diet on the go. I'm busy.
Because of food mapping. You don't have to be on the AIP diet. You can absolutely use your own data, and you were actually reintroducing food rather than removing more food.
Exactly.
And a lot of people don't understand that about food mapping, which is our own process. Through your own data, you're able to identify which foods you do have to avoid, but how many foods were you able to reintroduce?
I only had one I had to avoid. So it's been an add back for me for the food. And it just gave me that, well, for one, you were the first to really say how important the blood sugar was. And I know that I was not, even though I ate a lot in a day, I ate plenty calorie wise. The problem was how sporadic I was in eating, because I was on the go and I'd get to places that I couldn't just go grab something quick to eat. So I'd wait, and my blood sugar would be all day long because I'd have to hold out eating, because
you now realize was triggering the autoimmune attack to all targets like crazy.
Huge trigger for me.
I'm healthy. I'm eating all the AIP diet, but meanwhile, blood sugar was seesawing like a roller coaster, triggering the attack everywhere. Why am I getting more dry? Why are my eyes happening? Why am I losing my leg strength? Right?
Yep.
That's you.
Absolutely. Huge.
And I've done everything all functional medicine doctor. What does Dr. Maggie have to add for me? And I know it all too. Like, that's a lot.
I mean,
That's where you were at.
That's where I was at. You know, like I said, by the time I came to you, I had seen a neurologist, a rheumatologist, my primary doctor, a gastroenterologist, a cardiologist. That was the other symptom I had severely, was heart palpitations, to the point that I would feel like I was going to pass out when I'm walking. I would squat. They'd have I've never had them. So I was seeing cardiology and spent 2+ years learning about functional medicine and systematic health, and I was already working with a functional doctor by the time I came to you. So I did a lot of the work. I was persistent in solving this on my own, but I just reached a point that I knew there was a piece missing.
Yeah.
And it was blood sugar for me, but it was also my hormones. I had a feeling.
Yes.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I just had this inkling that it was there. But I had severe PCOS.
Hot damn, woman. Yes. Yes. And hell yes. PCOS, so linked to autoimmunity. So tell me about this. Did any of all your own research, all the other doctors ever even diagnose or link that with any of these autoimmune issues for you?
No, I will say that I had this intuition right before I joined your program, and it took me a couple asks with my doctor, functional doctor, not my gynecologist. There's no way they would have tested with my functional doctor. And so I did have a hormone kit on my desk that I was getting ready to take through me having to ask. But I think everybody can agree, when you are struggling and you're sick, you need someone that's going to help tell you
I told you what to do. I'm like,
exactly.
Hormones are going to be huge for you.
Yeah. So that's, I think that has been a huge turning point. Is, I'm going to be very brutally honest, I don't like to swallow pills. And so I did not start your supplements right away.
Yeah.
And I kept having symptoms.
Yeah.
And then I kept researching, because I'm a skeptic myself.
Please bring it.
And I kept getting told what to do. And then I go look at the supplements. I'm like, there it is. Like, duh, just take the supplements, figure it out.
Like in all your research, you ended up going back to my supplements.
Everything.
That's what she told me.
Everything I hear, it says, take this. And I go and look, I go, oh, that's in the supplements Dr. Maggie said to take. So I made it work. And believe it or not, the supplements, I still don't swallow pills, but they're all capsules. They almost all have no flavor. So you can easily open them up and put them in applesauce, or I dump them all into a shake. I drink it. And I've been having some of my other symptoms I had was this like liver pain or gallbladder pain. Don't know what it is, because the ultrasound, he's done with me too.
You know what it is now that you have PCOS. Come on. What is it?
I think it's my liver.
Yes.
Yeah, I know it is, but I can't get the blood test to say it's true. I can't get the ultrasound.
By the time you get an ultrasound and blood test to say that you have liver damage, that's too late.
Right.
That's not where I work, right? That's like
insane.
That's damage already. We're preventing damage.
Absolutely.
We are optimizing function and preventing damage, period. So let's talk about this. What happened to the liver pain's gone?
It goes away. I mean, sometimes it'll come back. I've got a lot. My estrogen dominance is severe.
Yeah.
And so
second pattern, her hormones are jacked up, not just PCOS,
very severe.
Yeah. But the other thing is, you mentioned severe weight loss. How much weight had you lost before this program?
Well, I've gained back 14 pounds. So I would say 14 pounds. And I'm 5'4".
Healthy weight. You were dangerously dropping weight.
I can't even explain how horrific that part was, the weight loss, because I'm 5'4". You know, I had a little weight on me, not a lot. And so when you start to get to that point and your weight's tanking like that, you start to say like, well, how much can I lose before my body's like done? And you can't stop it. And no one can tell you what's wrong. You've had every doctor. And that's before I went to your program. It was just like, it's terrifying. You can gain weight, and we all know you can gain a lot of weight and still live.
Healthy weight that calms your autoimmunity. That's a totally different ball of wax.
Absolutely.
So you've gained 13 pounds of healthy weight back. What happened to your cardiology issues that you went to see the cardiologist was? And what were the issues? The palpitations?
But when I say they were palpitations, I have Hashimoto's, and I started hyperthyroid. So I know palpitations from that experience. This was unlike anything I've ever experienced. Like, I'd squat down, it would skip a beat. I'd stand up, it would skip a beat. I'd start walking, it couldn't catch its beat. And I have not had palpitations. And I I am back on T3 meds. I was told that it was the T3 med causing it. It wasn't.
Nope.
And I am back on T3 meds for my Hashimoto's. Yep. And I have no problems with palpitations.
Because the number one cause of it was?
I think it was the blood sugar and
the
hormones. And probably hydration.
It's both.
Yeah, all of it.
But I would say top reason for palpitations and tachycardia. There's a difference between palpitations and also tachycardic runs, which is crazy fast runs or skipped beats. I've had all of them as well, and I'm Hashi's as well. Many people with autoimmune disease have these cardiac symptoms and have been told they're normal, and it's really related with severe blood sugar swings and hormonal swings, actually. So, so blood sugar is a huge part of it. Hydration, also certain vitamin deficiencies. I'm sure you found out there are certain vitamins deficiencies that was feeding this. I mean, just curious, people are going to want to know in the audience, what vitamin deficiencies do you think contributed to some of these palpitations or tachycardia?
Mine was, I think the B12
huge
was a big one. I've gotten that almost doubled to where I had been, and getting my D3 up. Other than that, I actually had great iron.
Vitamin D has a lot to do with some of these cardiac symptoms as well, just FYI. So so that was the, and then what happened with your neurological symptoms, your numbness in the leg? I'm curious because you haven't, really?
None. I can't believe the depths to which I went to find the problem. Like when I say I've been in a year of, I'm not going to stop until I figure out what the problem is.
Yeah.
And like I said, by the time I got to your program, I'm just like, I'm exhausted, and I have a lot of perseverance. I didn't know who else to see. I mean, I had functional medicine. Who's an MD? I mean, I'm seeing top quality people. It's not like I'm in some that I think truly did care about my well-being. It's not that they were just dismissing me.
I agree.
But I will tell you, my primary, I went back to her recently to see if she'd start prescribing my thyroid med.
Yeah.
And she said, no. She said, when I managed your thyroid, you weren't as healthy as you are now. I don't want to do that. And I thought, well, you're right. But I actually just wanted you to prescribe the meds. But I've got that figured out.
That is a sweet statement. That is actually a really sweet and humble statement.
I have good doctors. I just want that to be very clear, that I have sought after great doctors who are very intelligent, who care, that just didn't have either the tools or the knowledge to help me.
This is also why the program was formed, because I was a damn good clinical doctor.
Right.
And a damn good clinical functional medicine doctor, right? In a clinic. But there were so many things I couldn't do because I didn't have this program built.
Exactly.
So I'd love to pick your brain as to what do you think was so different about working in our program over that period of time versus everything you had ever done the 3 years prior? What was so different that gave these results?
It's a combo of everything together. Like, I don't think you can solve one problem.
Whack-a-mole.
Like I can't fix my hormones and my blood sugar be out of balance and expect to feel better. You know what I mean? And that's why I came to you, is that I knew I was to a point that I was trying my hardest to figure it all out, get the right doctor for this, the right doctor for that, picking and hiring the right doctor to evaluate this, and then trying to bring it all together by listening to podcasts. And I was exhausted and sick. And I think your program, well, one, the group setting, I'm a pretty positive person. It takes a lot to get me depressed and down and pessimistic, but I was getting there. And the program, your program, isn't just about data and hormones and everything else. It's got some mental work in it. And that's what I needed. I needed my confidence back. I needed to know that I could trust myself again to figure this out. And that part was huge. And the group setting to review the data, I needed that because I was starting to feel crazy, because you hear these things, right? You listen to it and it says hormones, this is your liver, for example. This podcast says your liver is the problem, but my labs don't show it. And I'm trying to go against them and say, no, I think it's this. And they keep testing, and then they do an ultrasound and it's like, no, it's not that. And you start to like, am I crazy? Am I crazy? And of course, people thought I needed anxiety meds. So I sought a mental health professional during this time.
Yeah.
I shared my story, and one, she was absolutely just more, she was not a great one, but she was just kind of amazed at everything that's happened. And finally I asked her, I go, do you think I need anxiety meds? She goes, well, she goes, if you want, I'll prescribe them for you. I'm like, no, I don't want another problem.
Yeah.
I go, I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm going crazy here because I know I'm symptomatic. I feel these things. I know this is happening to me. And joining your program made me, one, have a community, and it gave me all the pieces at one time.
It's the
To
integration
kind
of all.
Synergistically
It's the
work together.
It's the right ingredients that synergistically work together to solve this problem, but it's also in the right order and in the right group setting.
Exactly. You can't heal if you don't fix one other, the thing before it. And for me, symptoms do give me anxiety. I don't get anxiety and then get symptoms. That's the problem with medicine today, is they think that people get anxiety that causes their symptoms. I am symptomatic.
Yeah.
And it makes me anxious. There is a difference. And I will tell you 100% now that I'm on the other end, fixing my symptoms, got rid of my anxiety. It's gone. I don't have anxiety.
Mallory, okay. So a couple of points here. The smartest people are in our program. Like a lot of people think like, oh, it's not for me because I'm super smart. I'm super research. I know all this. I can tell you right now, Mallory, you're one of the smartest women I've ever spoken to.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts. The obsessiveness I went to.
No, I remember. Yeah, for sure. But
when you're trying to figure it out.
But I also remember where your mindset was when you first came to the program. I saw someone who was really closed and almost shut down. I don't think you cracked a smile for the first 3 weeks I saw you.
I tell you, I'm a skeptic.
I know.
I'm a hard person to crack. But at the same time, when I joined the program, you do an intake call with someone before. Yep. And I was sitting in the parking lot of the ER for the third time. Mm-hmm. It just so happened that was, the call was already scheduled, but I was just having another one of these dramatic palpitate. I just got so tired. I'm like, this isn't right. Somebody's got to figure, the ER trips was usually something pretty catastrophic is happening. And I just keep thinking they're going to find it this time. I got to go when the symptoms are happening. They got to find it this time.
Nope. I worked in ERs. I've worked in ERs, lady.
I know. I've
worked in ICUs, lady.
And I will tell you, I felt like I had really caring, even ER doctors, even one that I loved. He said, I go, is this Addison's? Is this like, and he goes, no, you know how I know it's not? He goes, cause I have that. And I'm like, okay, so you get it. They got it. They weren't doctors that were dismissing me. They tried. They did the CT scans. They believed me and they did the tests, but they couldn't find it.
It's just called limited tools and limited training to look at the bigger picture of what is the fuel that's feeding this autoimmune fire. Like this literally, I call it like a tree branch analogy. Like we're playing whack-a-mole with different problems on the tree and different fruit and trying to jump on each branch and sending each branch to a different specialist when the problem's with the trunk and what's feeding this trunk.
Absolutely.
And our medical system is the spray each apple differently, send herbicol, whatever just to each branch of the tree. And that's jacked up. It doesn't solve the underlying problem. It actually creates a crazy mess that actually breaks people down. It really breaks people down.
That's where I was. I was bawling. I'm not a crier. I'm like you saw in the program, I'm pretty closed off, believe it or not. I'm pretty serious.
You had an RBF. You gave me an RBF for a couple of weeks.
I get that a lot, unfortunately. In the beginning, I'm very quiet. I am very quiet in the beginning because I'm learning. I'm taking it all in.
Right.
I've got a lot of time that I've invested in learning about this. I'm trying to connect the dots on what meshes with what I know. And I finally just let go. That was part of the mindfulness in the program was, in fact, my I am statements was about trusting. I had lost all trust. I just didn't feel like I could trust anybody,
Mallory,
to help me.
You're a walking copy of me and where I was.
You're a doctor, but there's just something, and I hope this is all I want people to know. Like you feel it, that it's not you. Like
Yeah.
You know, something's wrong, and to get dismissed over and over again, and to keep checking here and checking there, and they can't find it. And they start to say you need anxiety meds, and you're like,
It breaks.
I know.
It breaks.
I say, just don't lose that. Like, I was starting to lose it. I was starting to say, maybe I just need to numb it with some anxiety meds or whatever.
I tried
kind of
that
psychological.
too.
Oh, you did? I didn't even go there.
Well, I
found
mean,
you first.
when I think about people with autoimmune disease, women and men with autoimmune disease and teenagers, how many times they've been diagnosed with mental health disorders that they actually don't really have.
No.
So many people with autoimmunity are diagnosed with anxiety, OCD, panic disorder, depression, bipolar, ADD, ADHD. Come on. This is like almost on the menu of what we can check off for Dr. Maggie. Like, I went through all these. I don't actually have any of those diagnoses.
That was some of my I look back through my early 20s. I had some experiences of extreme anxiety. And I start looking back, and my sister that got diagnosed with MS, extreme anxiety. Bingo. But it's like, there were so many signs. And that's my purpose, is that I start seeing this and learning more to help my own girls. Because I feel like there is a war on women that nobody is talking about. Mm-hmm. And I've got 3 little ones. So I've got to do, in my opinion, what I can to see the signs and recognize it early on, and know the steps. That's what I love about your program, is I feel empowered to, like, I know I've got 5 things to look at. I know what to start testing as a whole. I know what to try. And I've got a group. That's what's amazing, is the alumni group. You know, like you said, people are very smart, and it is people that are very committed to learning this and figuring it out.
Right.
And you can go there and just ask your questions. And I know that the answers are coming from people that are just as invested as I am.
Because they've done my program with me.
Because they've done the program.
They went through my training. Exactly. All my trainings, hundreds of hours of training and troubleshooting and mentorship together.
Exactly.
With me and with each other and with our nutrition. You know, this is huge. Why did you almost not join the program then? Looking back 6 months ago, why did you almost not join it?
Honestly, my only hesitation was because, like I said, I had invested so heavily in learning about autoimmune disease, in working with, I don't think I shared that was my 2nd or 3rd functional doctor that I'd been working with. And these are all MDs. I am working, like, when I say the functional doctors I'm working with, they are classically trained medical doctors that have migrated to functional medicine. So
that's me.
Exactly.
Right.
They are very intelligent people. So I have already worked with all of these people. I have done so many tests. I was so sick that I was nervous if it didn't work, that I'd fall into a really deep depression. I felt like, if this doesn't work, I'm hopeless. There was nothing left out there. I had been in the program, or the Facebook group, for several months, I think, before joining it. I saw the videos, and I knew it was always there. Like, that's what it was. It was always there, like, as my next level. Like, I knew, like, oh, if I get stuck, I'm going to join Dr. Maggie's program. But I basically checked every box I could. Like, I knew, like, I have this planned out in my head, like, oh, okay, if I get a roadblock here, I go here. And I had checked them all off. I was done. They were all out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've only got one option left. And if it doesn't work, do I have to, like, live like this for the rest of my life? What am I going to do? Like, mentally, I was worried about my mental health if it didn't work, because I was struggling. I was on disability from work at that point. I was showing up for my kids, but I wasn't there. I was there, but I was just standing there. I remember walking, feeling I'm going to pass out, but I just kept trying to, like, focus and stand and be there and smile for the picture. And I wonder how many people are out there in public trying to cover it up and pretend like they're okay.
Hundreds of thousands of people, including me, before.
It's heartbreaking. Even when I got my prescription yesterday, I feel guilty sometimes, because I can imagine, as a doctor, you feeling this way, but I pick up my prescription and she's like, do you want me to just set it on auto refill? I go, oh, probably not, because I get my labs checked every 8 weeks. We're working on this. She goes, oh, you do? And I'm like, yeah, you probably have a conventional doctor who's not checking your labs ever again, and just wait until you get super sick. But there's a different world out there where somebody's going to keep working with you and checking on you. And I don't know. I can't imagine how you felt. You feel kind of hopeless, and I get to share your program with people and give them something to do, but I can't imagine being a doctor. Cause like I said, I know I have caring doctors that genuinely cared about me and did what they could in their power to try to help me. But
yeah,
even my functional doctor just kind of gave up. They just didn't know.
And thank you. I mean, to me, I mean, you're speaking truth to so many people. You're speaking truth to what my story was.
It's so many stories, and
it is. And it is a silent, I mean, it is an insane medical system trying to deal with a very complex problem, and is not only driving the patient insane, it drives us
literally insane.
It literally, and it drives doctors, caring doctors insane too, that we don't know how to help. And so for me, I had to build this program. Once I started to figure out the pieces, I was like, there's no other way to deliver this except it. And I'm so glad that we did. Thank God there's no other way to deliver this. We can deliver this as an online program that's in a supported community and group where I get to interact. I get to teach for hundreds of hours.
Right.
You know, I mean, I did not visualize any other way that I could make this happen.
I wanted to say, I was kind of hesitant with the group setting in the beginning because I thought selfishly, I want one-on-one, somebody to just work with me, look at my labs and fix, help me work on this. But really, the group setting is probably what's giving me the most confidence.
Yes.
Because you sit there and you see people's labs, and it just gave me so much exposure because you hear their symptoms and eventually you're like, the repetition that when a doctor tries to tell me that I don't have PCOS, I have so much internal confidence. It doesn't like make me go mentally crazy like before, because now I'm like, you can't tell me this. I saw so many people in the program, they would list their symptoms and then boom, you see their test results. And you're like, oh, obvious.
Verification of both. And I taught the biochemistry as to why that's obvious. It's like it's scientifically undisputable.
It's data. Exactly.
Go through all three.
And the data is there, and it's like,
but your doctors aren't trained to understand that data.
But how is my gynecologist not testing my hormones?
Gynecologists are surgeons.
They don't believe that there's PCOS or they don't even care to even look into it, but
they want to know whether you need the hysterectomy or not, so that's something to think about, is that gynecologists and endocrinologists are not experts.
They're supposed to be
in hormone balance whatsoever.
Right.
That's not what their training is in at all. Good doctors. Well, no, you've experienced it.
Oh, I know.
I experienced it as these are my colleagues. These were the people that went to treat me.
Right.
Beg for testing. Who told me no when I got sick.
It's unbelievable. But yeah, the group setting is what just gave me so much confidence when I go out to hire doctors. Because, I went to go look for a new functional doctor. And one of the ones I interviewed told me to stop taking my thyroid med before they ever saw my labs. And that was just a huge red flag. I mean, I just came out of the program with so much understanding about me, even though it was a group setting. And
especially because of a group setting, that's why you understand the content.
I can have confidence in the results.
Right. And your understanding of the results in the biochemistry.
Exactly. Even though I have my own personal results, but the group setting gave me this confidence that I can trust the results. And believe it or not, trust is just hard for me.
But I think part of the trust is, Mallory, is that you're not a super special case in the program. It's not like you have some miraculous result that's different than everybody else. And I'm I'm interviewing 2-3 people every week of miraculous, exceptional results and ignoring everybody else. I mean, think about this. The results that you've seen in the alumni group, the results that you've seen in the program as you go through it. I mean, would you say that these are typical type results or super incredible results? Or, I mean, how would you rank the results compared to what you witnessed yourself with others?
I would just say it's typical. It's a process, like, do I think that I'll never have an autoimmune symptom again in my life? No, but
no,
I know I have the framework now, which is what I needed.
Yeah.
I needed the framework because I'm going to do something. And my body is organic. It's going to change. I'm going to age. It's constantly going to be fluctuating. I have the tools to, one, recognize, two, know what I need to get done to get back into balance. And that's what I needed. I needed to feel like I could control my symptoms if I get them, because if I can do that, I can figure it out. I've got the framework from your program. And what's great is, like I said, I feel like I'm just getting started. I haven't even gone into the gut part, I'm just in the very beginning. And so
I tell people though, our 2-month program, our online program is a launchpad to a year of autoimmune turnaround.
Exactly.
And honestly, a lifetime of autoimmune turnaround.
It's a lifetime. It's not a year. It's a
There's
lifetime.
so many layers that keeps building on it.
Exactly. I mean, I could get a gut bug and throw it all off, and that's why I needed your program, because I needed the confidence to say, I know what to do. And if I don't, I have people to ask. I don't feel alone anymore. And let me tell you, to have a roster of 7 doctors and to feel alone, what do you do? I mean, how, and I can see why mental health is on the rise, or mental health problems. And I was even to the point where I'm like, maybe I'll just take an anxiety med and try to zone out, I guess, and pretend like these symptoms don't exist.
Yeah.
Is that what they want you to do?
Yeah.
Until something catastrophic happens, until you develop cancer or your autoimmunity is disabling, or
no, I'm going to wait till I actually officially get diagnosed with MS with permanent damage and in a wheelchair before I'm going to say I'm going to do something about this.
That's what I mean. That's what
preventable.
They can't help you until it's screaming in their face what's wrong, is what I've gathered.
Correct.
Until it's completely yelling at them. Like, I had labs, I look back, and some of my labs from the ER, they weren't even in the normal range, but apparently it wasn't bad enough to be investigated. Why is there a range then?
Because that's not the normal.
That's just not, unless it's screaming angry at them. And even then they're only going to give you something to numb the symptom.
Yeah. What do you think is something, now that you've been through the program, you've spent hundreds of hours, honestly, with me. What do you think is something with your experience with me or the team behind the scenes that you don't think what's something that you know about me or the process that they know nothing about that would surprise them? What's a little known factor experience with me that you think people in the front just don't understand or don't realize?
I think, at least for me, I needed someone that was confident. And you can tell from your videos that you're confident. It's hard to explain until you're in the program and you're in such a mental whirlwind like I was, how much you need that. And when you're in the program, you're direct, which sometimes I want someone to hold my hand, but sometimes you just need someone to push you in the water and do it, right? Because me, it's like this constant back and forth. I'm like, oh, is this right? Is this wrong? And then, like I said, I didn't take the supplements right away. Is my body going to fix it? Just do it. Just do the work. And that's kind of your training, in the program is, and I get it. You're so far ahead and you've seen these results so many times over and over again. It's just so obvious, the answers. And you teach with that directness because you know the answer. This is the answer. This is what's wrong. And do the work.
I think that from people's experience, they could be so hopeless or so skeptical.
Yeah.
Even if I freaking know the answers and I even seen these results, a lot of people won't believe it or trust it. So I'm just saying, like, okay, let's look at Mallory 1.0 sitting in the emergency room on the phone with us, feeling that way. Right? Like, do I trust another person? Will this even work for me? Really, this is different than everything else I've ever tried. Now, Mallory 2.0, what would Mallory 2.0 tell Mallory 1.0?
I think I just want to tell her you're safe and you can do it. Just do it. I think that's what I needed. It was just this fear of like, there was no safety because nobody, I think still to this day, the part that jars me is I didn't have much experience myself in the ER until I developed this autoimmunity.
Right.
In fact, I can't even recall a time that I have had to go to the ER. And in your head, you believe that if you go to the ER, they will figure out what's wrong and they are going to help you. And to experience such extreme symptoms, to go to the ER and to realize that, oh my gosh, they might not be able to help you. I should say where some of this fear is coming from, that a friend lost a sister-in-law to Addison's disease because she was symptomatic during COVID, didn't want to go to the doctor, needed a med adjustment, and had a heart attack. And so that was that's always in the back of my head, that I need to take this serious. Like, you can't just wait till the symptoms are so bad. Like, there is consequences. Like, autoimmunity has consequences that some permanent that the doctors aren't taking serious. And so when I was, in that parking lot for the third time, desperately hoping that they could help me, and they can't, and it was terrifying. And I think I would tell that person that you're safe now to go with Dr. Maggie's program.
It's so funny, huh? And it took you going through the program and 6 months later for you to really now say that confidently to Mallory 1.0.
I had to heal, because I've done AIP, and I did experience an initial onset of improvement, and then it kind of tanked because there was other pieces. And now I've got the whole package, and I've got other layers. Like, if something happens in my gut, whatever it may be, I have a whole nother layer to enter into. Yeah. Like I said to you, that's what I kind of need, is to know what's my next step. Yeah. And at that point I had nothing left but you, and which is great. It's all I needed. But even now, even though I've been through the program, there's other layers that I can get into if I run into a roadblock or whatever it may be. I've got like someone for life and a program for life, and I'm not scared anymore. And I needed that, because that fear takes away from every day. Yeah. And I didn't want that in my life every day. All you wanted for this Christmas was warm hands. I think you got a whole hell of a lot more. Yeah, I did. You got a whole hell of a lot more. I know the picture, like what I've gained is it can't even be put into words, but I know the picture is dramatic, but it's mentally, like, to me, the most important part is what I've gained is my confidence and safety and the loss of fear. I want to tell you that your results and your story, best gift I could ask for this Christmas. Thank you. Thank you, Mallory. You rock. All right. Thanks, Dr. Maggie. Happy holidays. Boy, that was an incredible personal journey that Mallory had as a very intelligent woman who had a team of doctors, some of the best in the world, working with her to solve her complex autoimmune issues, who was able to really gain her self-confidence back, get her life back, and get resolution to nearly all her symptoms over the course of the last 6 months. Congratulations to Mallory, and to all the Mallorys out there, that for you, if you want this kind of outcome, you want a different life, you want to save your own life, make sure you click the link to join our Facebook group, chat our team, the link above or below this video, to take the next step, because there are answers out there. I promise you, there are answers out there that work, and there are logical reasons as to why Transform Autoimmune works. I hope you enjoyed this interview as much as I did. If you're a Mallory out there, you know a Mallory out there, comment in the comment section below. Connect with us. Tell us what's going on. If you know somebody like this who can benefit from watching this video, put their name in the video, under the video in the comment section below, because sharing is caring, and raising awareness is the best thing that you can do to deal with complex autoimmune issues. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.